Coming up, the father of a teenager who died after being targeted by online bullies asks the PM to take action. Hello and welcome to ITV News Central. These are tonight's main stories. Calls for a crackdown on internet trolls after a teenager takes her own life.
The hospital saving hundreds of lives by giving medical staff access to patient information at the touch of a button.
Picking flowers, taking photos and feeding their children. The drivers illegally using the hard shoulder.
I'm at one of the Midlands' most popular golf tournaments to see one of the world's greatest ever players and Jasper Carrott.
Good evening. The father of a teenager who killed herself after being targeted by online bullies has called on the Prime Minister to take action.
The body of Hannah Smith, who was 14, was found by her sister at their home in Lutterworth in Leicestershire on Friday. She'd received abusive messages on a social networking site. Charlotte Grant is live now outside Hannah's school. Charlotte, how have people there reacted to her death?
Well, according to her family and friends, Hannah Smith was a bright, happy and bubbly teenager who always seemed to be laughing. She was a final year student here at Lutterworth High School, and they have spoken of their deep shock and sadness at Hannah's death. They say she was a pupil who seemed to have everything to live for. Hannah's father told me that he was still in shock and too upset to speak on camera. But despite his grief, he is now calling for action. He's urging the Prime Minister to make sure that all social networking sites are properly regulated, to make sure that vulnerable people like Hannah are better protected. Well, Mark Goff's report does contain some of the threats that were made to 14-year-old Hannah Smith.
Hannah Smith hanged herself after receiving a litany of aggressive bullying posts on the Ask FM website. The final posts tell her to kill herself. She was found hanged by her sister at their home in Lutterworth in Leicestershire. Her father, too upset to be interviewed today, has now appealed directly to the Prime Minister for action against websites like Ask FM, which allows users to write posts anonymously. Hannah's life came to an end after receiving these messages. One says, "Do us all a favour and kill yourself." Hannah replies, "OMG, oh my God, can you just, whoever this is?" But the sinister posts continued. "Go commit suicide, but succeed please," says one. "Wouldn't you feel bad if I did, eh?" Hannah writes. "Go die." "OK," Hannah said. Last Friday, she was found hanged. After she died, her father Dave, on Facebook, wrote that he'd looked at her Ask FM account and seen the messages telling her to kill herself. He's now appealed directly to the Prime Minister to tackle websites like this. He said, "I would appeal to David Cameron as Prime Minister and a father to look at this to make sure these sites are properly regulated so bullying of vulnerable children like my daughter can't take place. Websites like this are bullying websites because people can be anonymous."
It was a shock, you wouldn't have ever thought that she would have done it because she was just so lovely. It was really just really hit you, as if to say, oh, it has actually happened.
I can't get it in my head, I'm a bit confused why she did it and really shocked that people can say horrible stuff.
Users on Ask FM must provide a name, an email address and date of birth, but they can post messages anonymously. Hannah was just 14. Her father today said, "I've now got to concentrate on burying my daughter and need to be left alone to bury her and to grieve properly for her." Mark Goff, ITV News.
Well, in a statement, the social networking site Ask FM said Hannah's death is a true tragedy and it's cooperating with Leicestershire Police's investigation into her death. It said it actively encourages users to report bullying and always removes content that violates its terms of service.
Well, we asked Downing Street for a comment, but they referred us to the Department for Education, and we are waiting to hear from them. So, in the meantime, let's speak to Anthony Smythe from the charity Beat Bullying. Mr. Smythe, this is a very sad case, not uncommon, and we often hear about calls for tougher action on cyberbullying. How then do we tackle organised groups of trolls that often target random people?
Yes, you're right. This isn't an isolated case. The tragic case of Hannah, and our thoughts and prayers go out to her family and friends. Our research at Beat Bullying found that 44% of child suicides are linked to bullying and cyberbullying, so we need to address it. We've been calling on the government to produce an anti-bullying strategy, which would include cyberbullying. Key to having an anti-bullying strategy is education on how to use these websites, having a better trained workforce so people can spot signs of cyberbullying, and also to have the deterrence in place so people know that when they leave harmful messages like this, there can be punishments for their behaviour online too.
Yeah, the big problem here, though, is that the bullies are anonymous. Now, how do you tackle that?
Yes. We at Beat Bullying have been asking Ask FM to work with us for quite some time now. We believe the site is not a safe site for children to use, and we've asked Ask FM to work with us on a number of things. Look at the registration process. So children, when they register, that all their details are verified, and they know that if they break the rules, they can be identified. We also want better moderation of the site, so those who own Ask FM are constantly looking out for cyberbullying and address it as soon as they see it. We want clear reporting procedures in place, so when a child is bullied, they know what to do. More importantly, we want resource behind that website, so when a child reports cyberbullying, that concern is actioned immediately. At this moment in time, the number one concern we hear from children and young people is that they report the abuse and nothing happens. It's left up there for days, and they have to come to charities like us at Beat Bullying to handle the situation. During that time, it causes an enormous amount of distress, and it can lead, as we've heard in some cases, to children and young people taking their own life.
Indeed. So, Anthony Smythe, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Well, many of you have been in touch to have your say. Claire Cooley, she says, I wonder if any bullies understand how their actions make their victims feel. It's utterly disgusting.
Yes, John Wild has also written in and says, I feel sorry for this lass, but kids need to log off and ignore.
This comment from Ro Pegg, this is an awful thing. These cyberbullies should be prosecuted.
And Aaron Davis says, I want to help her dad get the Prime Minister aware. Cyberbullying is wrong and these people don't know how much it affects the victim. Well, thank you very much for all of your views, and if you are being cyberbullied, there is advice on our website. Just go to itv.com/central. Police have released CCTV footage of two men they want to speak to after an attack in which another man was injured in the toilets of a pub in Wolverhampton. Cameras show a 29-year-old man being set upon by two others in the male toilets of the George Wallace pub in Victoria Street in March. The victim was left hospitalised with a fractured skull and eye socket. Police had previously released stills of the men they want to speak to, but officers are now hoping these CCTV pictures will help identify them.
A Birmingham hospital says it's saving 100 lives a year using an electronic system for patients' notes.
Today, another government report commissioned in the wake of the scandal at Stafford Hospital said patient safety must become the priority for the NHS. Kate Fisher reports.
If we just look at most doses the last 12 hours.
Every nurse and doctor in this hospital can access everything they need to know about a patient at the touch of a button.
Oxygen prescription there dropped from 98% to 94%. Do we know why?
And this screen shows how well the staff are performing and where they need to improve. The system is saving lives.
The other thing that we actually now need to work on.
It stopped a lot of mistakes at the point of decision making. I mean, healthcare now is so complicated. I mean, there are over 7,500 drug lines that we use in this hospital, and really expecting any human being, however intelligent, however well trained, to remember all of the possible side effects, interactions of these drugs is just not possible. But computers, of course, do that very easily. If you look at emergency patients admitted to this hospital, then when we introduced the second part of the system reporting system, we saw a drop in their mortality, about 300 patients a year. I don't think I need to say more than that.
It's just the kind of improvement Professor Berwick wants to encourage. Today he published his recommendations on how to improve patient care in the wake of the crisis at Stafford Hospital.
Focus on quality, develop the staff so that they know how to improve their own care. Listen to patients, let the patients and carers speak up, hear their voice, and be transparent. Open the doors, turn the lights on.
Here at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, they're already trying to do what he asks. Thanks to this new technology, the thousands of patients who come here every day are already safer. A recent evaluation of the electronic prescribing tool showed that it saved 100 lives in a year. There was a 17% drop in deaths of emergency patients over 12 months after the system was introduced. It prevents 146,000 potential medication errors each year, saving £43,000 in the critical care drug budget.
This system helps me as the manager identify my at-risk patients and do something immediately about it. Whereas previously I'd have to go to each patient's bedside and look at their notes and scan it from there, and it does take a while to do that. And it has actually helped us get a better quality of nurses as well, because nurses know that they're being monitored, they're performing and they want to perform and excel. Basically, and we're very competitive as well, because we keep looking at other wards and want to be better than the others. So yes, it helps, and I think it would be brilliant if we could do it hospital-wide. So if we compare ourselves to another hospital on the dashboard, it would be brilliant.
The medical director agrees. He wants to make the software freely available to other trusts. He says he'll be asking the Health Secretary to roll it out to hospitals across the country so that more mistakes can be prevented and more lives saved. Kate Fisher, ITV News, Birmingham.
A friend of a woman from Leicestershire who died while trying to swim across the English Channel is tonight close to completing the same gruelling 21-mile route herself.
Susan Taylor from Barwell collapsed and died in the waters just a mile off the French coast last month while raising money for charity. Well, now her friend, Kathy Batts, is attempting to finish the swim. She spoke to Najreen Izzar beforehand about her determination to take part in what's called the Everest of open water swimming.
So that is the aim, to start at England, go to France and finish on the cap there.
The Batts family have been talking about Kathy's dream of swimming the Channel for months. All the planning and preparation will be put to the test.
Nervous at the moment because I think it's now become a reality.
You lost a friend in the last few weeks.
I did.
Trying to do the same thing you are attempting to do.
Yes. To be quite honest, Susan wouldn't want us not to swim this. She'd still want the swimmers to carry on and still train and still attempt to swim the English Channel.
Slip in, off you go.
As a lifeguard trainer, Kathy knows how to survive in the water, and her teammates say she's ready to take on the challenge.
Bit crazy. Something I'd like to do later in life, but I'll let her do it first.
Well, good luck to her anyway. Nah, she'll do great, I know she will. She'll definitely do it.
First of all, it won't be if, it will be when I achieve it, and it will mean everything. And I can say, yes, I've achieved something that so few people have.
Good luck, Kathy, from Cascades and Cygnets.
You're watching ITV News Central. Still to come. Big Ron in a bunker. Celebrity golfers, good and bad, show off their skills.
And after a wet start to the week yesterday, yes, a third of the monthly average rainfall total in just 24 hours. What next? Well, I have all the details a bit later in the programme.
Now, on stretches of busy motorways, up to 250 vehicles a day are using hard shoulders illegally. The police say they're amazed at some of the excuses people give.
One driver told them he'd stopped to renew his insurance policy, and a couple pulled over to photograph their newborn grandson in an open-top car, as it was a nice day. Here's our transport correspondent, Keith Wilkinson.
This car is on the hard shoulder illegally. So is this one. The problem seems to be at its worst, where drivers have become used to what's called managed motorways. This is where there are temporary overhead signs allowing hard shoulder use at busy times of day to reduce congestion. When the signs are off, or there is a red X, hard shoulders should only be used for emergencies.
Lorry driver's gone. Let's see what this car does. And eventually pulled out. He's followed the lorry, hasn't he? So
here police had spotted a car and lorry going through a red X at the junction of the M5 and M6 near Walsall, where many flout the rules.
I think the lorry I'm more interested in, so we'll have a chat with the lorry driver. He said he didn't see the sign because he was concentrating on finding a gap, but he accepts what I've explained to him. He's aware of the managed motorway system and what it means, but I think on his part it was a lack of concentration. The red X should be treated as a red traffic signal. It's the same offence. It's just as bad as going through a red traffic light.
Highways officials say managed motorways have actually improved safety. But on some busy stretches, up to 200 vehicles a day use hard shoulders illegally, putting lives at risk. And there have been some incredible excuses from drivers.
Which range from someone who realised they didn't have insurance, so they decided it'd be a good place to stop and phone up. A lot of people stop to feed kids or for a toilet break. We've had other people that have stopped to take photos of sunsets and pick flowers and stuff like this. It's not a safe place to stop.
The Highways Agency statistics will say that there were 175,000 breakdowns in the last year, in 2012. So that's where they legitimately come into use as hard shoulders for emergency use.
The Highways Agency and the police will start a campaign next month, recording the number plates of drivers who shouldn't be on the hard shoulder. They could be in for a warning or fines and penalty points. Keith Wilkinson, ITV News.
We shouldn't laugh at some of those excuses, should we? But we did. But it is a timely reminder of what not to do.
Quite so. Yep. Now, the recent torrential rain has had a dramatic effect on calls to Severn Trent Water. They've doubled in the last few weeks as people phone up to report flooded roads and homes.
Yes, the company says it's coping well with the surge in demand, but adds that many of the calls are unnecessary or concern things they don't own or control. Andy Bevan has the full story.
As the rains come down, the calls come in.
Hello, Severn Trent Water.
Hello, Severn Trent Water.
Hello, Severn Trent Water.
Severn Trent's customer service centre in Coventry has seen the number of calls and online pleas for help double since the downpours began. Waiting times to get through have been as high as 40 minutes, even with 120 staff working flat out.
The rain's affected us massively. It's been one of the busiest times that many people here can remember. To put some context on it, there's been over 100% increase in calls into here. As a result, we've had to draft in extra resources. People have been working, additional hours to try to cope with those volumes.
And this is where those calls end up. One of Severn Trent's 24-hour round-the-clock response teams. Here they're dealing with a blocked sewer by first locating the problem with a mobile CCTV camera and then unblocking the sewer with high-powered water jets. But 70% of calls to Severn Trent are unnecessary. And to explain why, here's Chris Giles from the Wastewater Services.
You'll get really intense rainfall for a short period of time, which is building up on roads and paths. And actually that's taken a bit of time to actually drain away. And if people could give it a couple of hours before ringing in to make sure that it is just draining away, then if it isn't draining away and it's on a road or path, please call the Highways Agency. If it's a river or stream, please call the Environment Agency. People aren't aware not to put things down the toilets, things like baby wipes, which are really difficult to break down. They really should go into the bin. And in fact, we see instances where people are actually unfortunately putting nappies down their toilets. So these can block up, and wet ones, you can imagine that really does block pipes up and cause people blockages.
And if you don't believe him, take a look at what they've just found clogging up a sewer in London, a so-called fatberg, a 15-ton mass of festering food, wet wipes, nappies and, well, other things, as big as a double-decker bus. It took 10 days of constant jet hosing to get rid of it. Severn Trent says it's not aware of anything that big in its sewers, but the message, especially in these times of record rainfall, is as clear as the water from your tap. Andy Bevan, ITV News.
I hope that doesn't put you off your tea.
No, amazing images on the programme today, aren't there? Now, the ITV News continues with the national and international stories at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Nina Hussain.
Coming up, how to make the NHS the safest health system in the world. The verdict from a world expert put patient safety first. But after yet another review, will there be any changes soon? A father's plea to the Prime Minister help regulate the internet after his daughter was bullied to death online. And how the hot weather and Andy Murray have helped the high street. Join Alistair Stewart and me at 6:30.
Now, some of the country's best golfers, past and present, took to the greens today alongside famous footballers, cricketers and stars from the entertainment world. The British Par 3 Championship is taking place at Nelcote Hall in Warwickshire.
Yes, our sports correspondent Steve Clamp swapped his clubs for a cameraman, or even the other way around, and they were given access to the very best of the action.
I'll tell you what, this is not a course you play at 8:30 in the morning.
Everywhere you look, famous faces. Footballers, comedians, snooker players, cricketers, and one man who brought some of the biggest smiles, Strictly Come Dancing judge Len Goodman.
Now, you'd think dancing, you need timing, posture, rhythm, technique, all those things, and you need all those things in golf. But no, it doesn't go across.
Len is, of course, a Londoner enjoying a day in the Midlands. For comedian Jasper Garrett, it's far more local. He lives just up the road.
It's all right, I've got this slide here. My game's gone completely. I don't know what's happened. It's just, you know, you had the yips when you're putting. Well, I've got it through the whole game.
Really? Do you play less than you used to?
A lot less, yes. Well, when I play a lot. You know what I mean?
So, of course, a lot of the people are here just to see the celebrities and to pick up an autograph or two. But there are plenty who've come to see high-quality golf. And it doesn't get much better than one of Britain's greatest ever players. And one of his victories is remembered on the front of the programme. Tony Jacklin is the most successful European Ryder Cup captain ever. While as a player, he won both the British and US Open. Jacklin told me how disappointed he'd been to see Lee Westwood throw away a commanding lead at the Open last month. So does he think the player from Nottinghamshire will ever win a major?
Who knows, maybe he'll do better further away from home, you know, in the PGA this week, because he's certainly going to tee it up playing good golf. We saw him with his putting. He got his sort of putting sorted out for the Open Championship, and the rest of it was where he messed up.
From golf to football, Ron Atkinson managed Manchester United, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest and Coventry, but is perhaps best remembered for his time with West Bromwich Albion, who he shaped into a title-challenging team. So what does he make of Albion's recent return to form, which saw them edging towards the European places in the Premier League last season?
I think it's going to be harder this year. I think it's going to be harder for them. I think a lot's going to depend on how Anelka plays, because obviously they've lost Lukaku and maybe Odin Wingy, so that's an awful lot of goals gone missing for them, like, you know.
None of the celebs looked likely to win the tournament, but they helped raise lots of money for good causes, so there were at least some winners. For the final word, back to Len for a bit of golfing advice. You've got your caddy out there and you're thinking, I don't want a 6, I don't want an 8.
No.
What do you ask for?
7!
A lot of fun, eh?
Lots of fun, yes. All the girls out shopping, clearly, as well.
Oh, yes, probably, yes. Anyway, they had a nice day for it. Let's see what's in the forecast for the next 24 hours. Here's Emma Jesson.
What's the weather like where we're going? Sunny. What about the long-range forecast? Sunny.
Hello there, hope you had a good day. Better day than yesterday, certainly drier and brighter. And this evening's picture made me smile as well, sent in by Jenny Jesson. Any relation? I don't know, maybe. But I had to show it since it was sent in by Jenny Jesson. Now I suppose I'll have loads coming in now from Robert Jesson, Simon Jesson and May Jesson. What about our weather though? Well, it looks like it's going to be very fine at times, but also a little bit showery as well. Some good sunny spells in between the showers and more organised rain on the way for Friday. Now yesterday we had about 26 millimetres of rain through parts of Herefordshire. So that's over a third of the average monthly rainfall in just 24 hours. But right now the pressure is quite slack there, as you can see, but low pressure is approaching for Friday. That'll bring more organised rain after tomorrow's showers, but it shouldn't amount to a lot. Overnight tonight, mostly staying dry and quite cool. Some mist patches in places, but they'll lift first thing in the morning. Good sunny spells, but by the afternoon, 1 or 2 showers. Temperatures where they should be. Here's Pollen.
Flybe, sponsors of ITV Central Weather.
Suffering from hay fever? ITV Pollen Count is sponsored by Benadryl.
So we're into weed pollen now, and in spite of the brighter spells, there will be a few showers around over the next few days, and so counts will be low to moderate in general. That's the way it's looking. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
We don't want rain on Friday. It's the Shrewsbury Flower Show, and we'd like
Is
a nice
it
day
really?
for that. Oh, yes.
Well, let's hope so.
Yes.
In the meantime, I'll be back with an update at 10:30. But for now, from the team, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.